Hello everyone, Peaceful here, and welcome to another video. In this video, I'm going to be explaining a format I came up with called Quadra Battle. So, what is Quadra Battle? Quadra Battle is a 4v4 MetaZoo format made for competitive play, and it's inspired by some competitive esports and team-limited formats. The purpose of Quadra Battle is to further take advantage of the metagaming aspect of MetaZoo. This means when you enter an event, usually a tournament, but it could just be a single match, you need a team of 4 players. Each player submits their own deck list with the standard MetaZoo requirements. Each player must also submit their 5 fourth wall items. The games are played in classic Terra-only mode, meaning for a sewer alligator to be played, you must have a city Terra card. For in-person play, the Terra-only restriction is removed. Next, if you're in a tournament, your team of 4 will be matched up against another team of 4 to play. This is an open deck list format, so you will be given your opponent's deck lists and fourth wall items to examine. While examining deck lists, each team is given 10 minutes to decide which of their players to select as an advisor. The advisor will not play in the match, but may move between the various games and give advice to their teammates. Next, each team will select a player for their first match. The first selection is less strategic, but the general strategy would be to predict who you think the other team will choose as their first player, and pick the player on your team that has the best chance against them. Next, each team chooses the player to be in the second match, leaving the players to be in the third match. There's a 5-minute time limit to decide players for each of the 3 matches. This may seem a bit confusing, but it's the main strategy and uniqueness of the format. With access to opponents' decks, you must strategically decide, as a team, who has the worst chance against opponents' deck lists and predict who will play against who. The 3 games will happen simultaneously with the advisors able to advise, and whichever team wins 2 out of the 3 matchups wins the whole match. If there's a tie, however, the advisors play to decide the winner. To be clear, the 3 matches are each best of 3 rounds, just like in normal competitive play, meaning to decide one game of Quadra Battle, it would be best of 3 matches of best of 3 games, but it actually wouldn't take that much longer than a normal game of 3 rounds, because they're all happening simultaneously. In case you're still confused, let's do an example. Let's say I'm on team Golden Gumbroo's, and we've submitted 2 forest decks, a lightning deck, and a flame deck. We get matched up against another team of 4, the Silver Sewer Gators. So first, we each get the other team's deck lists for 10 minutes to decide our advisor. We notice that they submitted 2 water decks, 1 forest deck, and 1 flame deck. We also know who is playing what deck. So, for example, we know that Bradstash is playing their forest deck. Noting who is playing what deck is just as important as noting what is being played. So, because at least one of their decks has to be a water deck in their final 3, we do not select either of our forest decks as an advisor. We think they'll likely bring their flame deck for sure to counter our forest decks, so we're going to submit our lightning deck as well to help counter the flame deck. That means our flame player will be our advisor. It seems our opponents ended up choosing their water deck as the advisor as we predicted, so next we choose our first player. Because we have 2 forest decks, we want to pick one of the forest decks first, because otherwise our opponents will know that our other 2 matchups are going to be forest. Our opponents predicted that we were going to choose a forest deck first, and selected their flame player for the first round, so the first match will be forest vs flame. Then, we select our other forest deck for the second match, meaning the lightning deck will be third. Our opponent ends up selecting water second. This means the 3 matchups will be forest vs flame, forest vs water, and lightning vs forest. All 3 games were played at the same time, and the advisors were able to help their teammates with decision-making. Let's say that the flame deck beat the forest deck beat the water deck, and the lightning and forest decks tied. Because it was a draw, the advisors played to decide the match. Other players may not advise the advisor match. So, the matchup is a flame deck for the Golden Gumroos versus a water deck for the Silver Sewer Gators. The Silver Sewer Gator player wins that matchup. This would mean that the Silver Sewer Gators win the whole event. So yeah, I hope you found this informative, and I hope you like this idea. Bye. See everyone in the next video.